In this video, I'm going to show you how to upgrade from 3.0 to 3.1. I apologize ahead of time, but I recorded this video without any audio, so I'm going back over and narrating it. Now, before you can upgrade, you must be running at least 3.0.906 in order to upgrade to 3.1. Now, this is my lab environment, and I have one reseller with one company and one user that is mailbox enabled. Now, before you can upgrade, you must completely remove 3.0 because 3.1 is a completely new rewrite. So before I upgrade, I'm going to create a backup of my database. I'm going to go and create a backup of the CloudPanel directory and just save it on my desktop. And I'm going to go to Programs and Features and uninstall CloudPanel 3.0. Also, if you're running the scheduler, please uninstall that as well. Now that it's uninstalled, I'm going to go and delete the directories that are left. This includes the scheduler and CloudPanel. Also, make sure that the application pool for CloudPanel is removed and the virtual directory. Now, you cannot go directly from 3.0 to the latest 3.1. You must always install 3.1.0030 release candidate when upgrading. This is because there are some database changes that have to occur. Now from here I'm going to choose the default website, which is going to create a CloudPanel virtual directory in. I'm going to create a new application pool called CloudPanel, and I'm going to type my domain username and password. For the SQL database, I'm going to configure it with the exact same settings as I had with 3.0. This is because the installer is going to do some upgrades on the database. Also, SQL authentication is the only thing that is supported. Windows authentication is not supported. After it installs, you'll notice that the directory structure is completely different. The settings have been removed from the database and are now saved in a settings.xml file located in the config directory under CloudPanel. Now, from the server that you installed CloudPanel on, we need to log into the settings and set them up again. You'll notice that the settings page has changed. There is no longer a .aspx at the end of it, and the URL /admin/settings. And we configure the same settings that we had in 3.0. You need to make sure for the hoster name that you enter the exact same hoster name as you had in 3.0. This is only important if you were not using resellers in the previous version. You'll save the settings, and now you'll go back to Exchange and click the refresh button on the databases to see if they pull in, and they did. And we're going to save the settings again. Now you can click on Dashboard and try to log in and make sure everything looks okay. I apologize up front, but you will lose your system history. Let's go down to our companies, and let's just browse around and make sure everything looks okay. You'll also notice a lot has changed. You no longer have to go to Exchange and then Mailboxes to edit mailbox settings. You simply edit the user, go to the Email tab and click Edit, and you edit the mailbox settings from there. Now that everything looks good there, let's go ahead and upgrade to the latest version of CloudPanel. Before we do this, let's create another backup of the CloudPanel directory. And the reason why we have to do this is because the installer sometimes will remove the virtual directory, the application pool, and the settings file. I've worked with the manufacturer of the install software and they provided me a solution, but the solution does not only starts with version 3.1.0038. There's nothing I can do about the previous versions. You'll notice for the upgrade process it's going to remove the older versions and then install the latest. Once we're upgraded, we need to go check the web config and make sure that it looks okay. And it does. Now we need to go look at our settings file and make sure it looks okay. And it doesn't. It looks like it reverted back to default. You can see that the database value is empty and the rest of the settings look like the default. So let's go into our backup and copy the settings.xml file from our backup. Now let's go to IS and make sure that the application pool and virtual directory are still there. And in our case it does not look like they're there. So we're going to have to recreate them. Let's start with creating the CloudPanel application pool. Let's click it and then click on Advanced Settings and change the identity to the domain, username, and password. Now let's add our virtual directory back. So let's right click on Default Website, click Add Application, type in CloudPanel, and choose our new application pool CloudPanel that we just created. And we need to choose the physical path. This is under C, Program Files 86, No More IT, and CloudPanel. Now after we are finally upgraded to the latest version, let's go back to the settings page You'll see a version on the settings page. And we need to go to the migration updates and click on each one of the buttons. There are some new fields in the database that each one of these buttons updates. It queries the information from your environment and stores it in the database, such as the object good and some other values. Now let's log in. Let's just look around and make sure everything looks okay. Now if you had any company admins in version 3.0, you will have to set up all of the company admins again. This is because there's a new permission role based security in CloudPanel 3.1. Even if it does say that they are a company administrator right here, they will not actually be able to log in. So we need to click permissions. Let's create a new security role called full access. We'll select all the checkboxes and save. Now we'll go back and edit each one of the users that we want to grant access. Then we'll go to the company section, and where it says is company admin, change that to full access, the security role we just created. Now we can test logging in as this user as a company admin. And it looks good. CloudPanel is now up to date. Next, we need to install the CloudPanel scheduler. You will find the download for this on the same page that you download CloudPanel 3.1. Every time I release a new version, I will release a new version of the scheduler with it. We need to choose where the settings file is because the scheduler reads the same settings file that CloudPanel uses. This is so you're not entering the information multiple times. I do want to point out if you had any customization in 3.1, such as not using company codes, using user principal names for the CN format in Active Directory. That is where you look in the display the name field in Active Directory and it shows the user's login name instead of just the user's name, which is or typically display name. Then you need to be sure to contact me so I can assist you with upgrading. Now for the scheduler, there are values. This tells how often to retrieve each one of these or each one of the data. So retrieve database sizes is going to retrieve every 40 minutes. Mailbox sizes every 720 minutes. Now for the first time you can set all the values to 0, and what will happen is when you start the scheduler, it will go ahead and query everything that had the value of 0 and then reset it back to every 720 minutes while it's running. It will take the service longer to start depending on how many users you have. But after it's successfully started, it retrieved all the information. You should go back to the configuration file and change them back to the values that you want. And that is it for the CloudPanel 3.0 to 3.1 upgrade. If you have any questions, please post on the forums. Thank you.